really quickly.
Nice.
Okay, so I'll just kind of we play like an intro, so we'll like do our little thing, be really awkward and dumb for a second, and then we'll talk for a bit again, and
Intro's
then
playing,
blah, blah, blah.
playing.
And then we'll ask you we'll just introduce you and just go. You'll know when we're ready for you to start speaking. We'll just start asking you about yourself.
It'll be obvious. You know how to speak.
Yeah, we'll ask you a question, you'll respond.
Yeah. Have you ever had a conversation?
Do you know how to
before?
do that?
I will try.
Okay. I'm glad that we prepped.
Yeah.
All right, well, here we go.
All right. Songs are jamming.
I still don't know how our song goes.
I don't know off the top of my head. Okay, are we recording?
Yeah, we are.
Welcome back to another spicy episode.
Yes.
We're so excited to kind of be in this middle of this fun like guest series we have. There's so many people we've been so excited to talk to, and like people want to talk to us. It's cool. That they agree.
Yes, it is cool.
It's so cool. So today we are so excited to be chatting with someone who means a lot to both Gabe and I.
Absolutely means so much.
Reasons. I'm just gonna do a little Catalina plug here.
Please.
I came to Catalina in 2018 when I was in the worst stage of my life. Like I was very depressed. I got pneumonia twice that year.
Wow.
And I was just like, I like literally didn't know how I was going to like live another day. And my roommate came home from her workshop and was like, I think you'd really like her. You should get a mentor session with her. So I did. And she whipped my business into shape. She was the one who was like, yo, we're going to redo all of this.
While simultaneously being like literally an angel.
A literal
actual angel from heaven.
It's because of her I started outsourcing my editing. I thought there was no other way to live than the horrible way I was living. I thought there was no other way to live. I have a dog because of her. Like I can say like her guidance helped me get my business to the place that I'm living like a pretty well-rounded life now. That was like, that's honestly my mentor session with you, Catalina, was the start of like a new phase for me. But like believing that I was like one of those photographers who could outsource their editing and have a life I wanted, you know. So you just mean a lot to me and I love you. And then, you know, you got me in pretty high ranks in the Googles. She kills it.
And I found out about Catalina also from Cami, who said that her mentor session with Catalina was amazing. So I was like, well, I got to get on that because there's no way that Cami's going to do better at SEO.
I was going to say, because there's nothing I can have that Gabe can't have.
Exactly.
If I have it, Gabe has to have it. And then do it better. Because that's the story of our relationship.
No, it is not. That is not true. Anyway, so I did the same thing.
Take the person you're threatened by and then join businesses with him. That was the strategy. And then become best friends.
Perfect. So I also did a mentor session with Catalina for the same reasons. And we just connected really quickly. And then I had the honor of getting her to come to my first workshop in New Orleans, which was a month before the pandemic started. And we learned more about each other that week, and I just became more and more inspired by her every single day.
We like love her a lot.
We literally love her a lot.
And just so everyone listening knows, this isn't like a intro where she's not listening to us. She's here right now, and we're just talking about her poor thing. I would be mortified.
I know.
You're like crying, just like it's fine.
We just fuck her up emotionally and then hit her with the hard questions.
Oh my gosh.
It's our strategy. We bring them down to bring them up and then bring them down.
Yeah.
We're going to take you on a journey.
Here we go. Okay. So we love Catalina and we're so excited to have her here with us. And so, Catalina, hi.
So now that we just got you crying over there,
wipe away the tears, take a couple deep breaths.
I look up to both of you so much since even first meeting you. It's just like, I open these websites and talk to these people and we're just like, oh, I'm not even I was like, countdown, 6 months. Nope. They're going to be industry shakers and movers. And that was so like sweet. The
wow.
First, I remember are just like so connecting with you both when we were first meeting. And I was just like, you're so talented. This
is man. Imposter syndrome.
I basically
forced
you to. I'm like, Gabe, I'll do anything with you. Like, when you started to do stuff. I mean, and same Cami. It's just, I just trust you both so much. And
likewise,
doing stop was absolutely amazing. And Gabe, like, truly one of like, I mean, just born to run things like a
Yeah,
workshop.
he's like the hardest worker I've ever known. It's
it
when
was-
people
I
get
was
mad
blown
about maybe some like quick success, then I'm like, no one is willing to work as hard as Gabe is. So it's like, it's
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, is it
Oh
my
God,
turn?
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Oh my
I know.
God.
I just put that in. You guys cheer up.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, we love you.
We love you so much.
Let's kind of get into who you are, where you're from, what you do.
Yeah, what are you about? What are you up to?
So yeah, say hey.
Yeah. So,
Say hey.
Can you say hello already? No.
I didn't. I'm just sitting here crying. Well, hi, I'm Catalina Jean. I've been a wedding photographer for just over 8 years, which it feels nuts to be coming up on nearly like a decade of doing this. I live in Portland, Oregon. I absolutely love it here, and and I focus a lot. I love education. I feel like it's like a life purpose of mine, like through and through, and pretty SEO obsessed. And I have 2 little weird dogs that look like gremlins.
I love them.
If they don't look like gremlins, are they even cute? You know?
They're really
You know?
cute.
Yeah. Scrunch face.
Yeah. I love the little scrunch face weirdos.
That's awesome.
So good.
Awesome. And then was there some like life-changing event
Big
that
life
happened in the
event?
last couple weeks? Oh,
Oh, someone has some fresh
yes, you just got
fling.
engaged.
Yes,
Yay,
I got
Catalina.
engaged.
Amazing. Amazing. Ugh, I remember when you posted it, I was really thrown off because I think you just like put it in
I
your
thought
story.
you guys
Something
were already
nonchalant.
married, actually.
Oh.
It almost feels
Practically.
like we both were kind of like, this feels like an odd step back because like I call him my husband. It's really, and he calls me his wife all the time.
Yes, I can totally
like,
see that.
Fiance, and I'm like, we're both like,
Yeah.
it's kind
You're
of
like, hold on, that's not right.
Like I didn't mean it in a way where I'm like, I wasn't excited for you, but I saw it and was like, they weren't
Wait, what?
already.
And you posted it so nonchalantly too, and I'm like looking at it, and then I was like swipe by, and I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, I was like, wow. It feels
that.
like it always has been.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm dying to know, what is it like planning? Because Gabe and I both got married. I had not to each other. We'll just, sometimes some people think. So we both got married before we were wedding. I had just started photography. Like I had been a photographer for like 2 years at the time.
I didn't care about it at all at the time.
So I wasn't like anyone in the industry at that point. So like nobody cared about my wedding. But I feel like when you've been in the industry for a long time, there are maybe like expectations about like having a really cool wedding, or like, are people really annoying? Like, are people all over your junk wanting to like do everything for free to like just be a part of your wedding? Like, what is it like planning a wedding, being like such a force in the industry? Like, what's it been like? You are though. You are. People know who you are.
One
People
of the elites.
Yeah, people know you. So
no, maybe I'm not cool enough. I haven't gotten any free offers though. That would make me feel uncomfortable. Please no one do that. I don't know what I would do.
This is not a plug for you to go and offer to do anything for Catalina for free. Yeah. Avoid. Okay, anyway.
I mean, I think just with the way I have always approached the wedding industry is I've never felt a part of the wedding industry. I've never really felt drawn to details. And if people are into that, awesome. But I just know me. So, that's what's kind of cool. I also, the biggest thing that's important to me, and I know this sounds rather semi-cliche, but I really don't want florals. I really don't want decor. I really want a badass dress because I want a badass dress because I love fashion and I want to
you're a badass.
Yes.
I want to look like a sci-fi alien, kind of bride.
Yes, sci-fi alien.
I'll start making you a tinfoil hat. Okay.
Yes, I will. Oh, is that the new trend? A tinfoil cape?
It's gonna be blue. It'll be your something blue.
Oh my god! Crazy. Oh my god! So crazy.
But yeah, I think I really want to plan a week of spending time with people. I've debated whether having like an actual wedding day, like just having maybe a pop-up ceremony, and then like in the morning, and then maybe some sort of like casual reception in the evening. I do not want to sit down dinner. I feel like this is going to get spicy. So I feel like dinners are absolutely awkward. I feel like even dancing is awkward, but I love dancing, but I'm going to make a separate night for all my wild friends to get wild, and grandma doesn't have to watch it.
Yes.
So
Oh,
that's
gosh, such a
like
great
these
idea.
multiple day- I love photographing dancing, but I just
Like a separate party
a
night.
separate
That,
party
oh
for
my
the
God, that's
partiers.
really
Brilliant.
fun.
And then
Brilliant.
just do like hors d'oeuvres and maybe like a drag show, for the reception. Like have like and like a live band or
Like an
something.
event.
Yeah, like a performance almost. That's
performance.
a
Yeah,
great
like
idea. Like
definitely
people are
more
coming
like-
to experience something.
Yeah,
Love
like
it.
That's sick.
appetizers, and I'm like, people, if you're hungry, just feed yourselves. Dear God, like there all this
Yeah.
expectation on like, oh, it's supposed. I don't know. I'm not. All
I
about
agree.
that.
I always think sit down dinners are a little awkward. And I think kind of forcing group dancing is always a little awkward. Like even at some weddings where my time is up with at the wedding before like the couple's on the dance floor, sometimes like the planner will be like, oh my God, I need to go get them on the dance floor before you leave. And I'm like, why are we
Yes,
why
there's
are
so
we
much
making people
pushing.
do things they
Yeah.
don't want to do? Like they're visiting right now. They're outside having fun. I don't think they're going to be that pissed they don't have pictures of them on the dance floor. Like their friends are shooting that shit the whole time.
Yep.
Like stop making like literally at my wedding the other day, planner was like, I'm gonna go get the groom on the dance floor because you leave in 10 minutes. I'm like, please don't. He's outside like having
Yeah.
shots and hanging with his dudes. Like, the stuff about weddings that drives me crazy is like the forced production aspect
There's
of
this like
it.
format to follow. I'm
Yeah.
just like, I
Let people do what they want.
Yeah, and that's why I want to split it up to hopefully, and then have all the events just be, if you would love to come, here's like, so I kind of picture our wedding invite to be like, here's the events, here's the description, here's the ones that are, kids are not advised, 18 plus, like, sort of events where, because our friends are pretty wild and like to have a good time. Where his, his family.
I mean, yeah, you kiss. Oh,
yeah.
What? I was just about to say something from our private conversation.
Just drop it in. Just drop it in hot. Sorry, guys.
You're not sorry.
What a tease.
What a tease.
Ooh.
Anyway.
Everyone listening wonders what I was about to say there. Pretty secret.
We're friends and it happens. Just dropping secrets.
I'm not going to say I'm surprised, Catalina. I feel like when we asked you this question, I kind of knew how you were going to answer it. But I mean, I feel like your ideas are still out of the box from what I probably would have assumed. And I think that that's awesome. I love your perspective on it all.
And it's another spicy thing. I probably won't have a photographer.
Cool. Whoa. Do you want to share any thoughts on that?
Yes.
Yes.
I think there's this over importance of polishing up life events. And I think as much as I absolutely love what I do, and if people see it and would love me to like produce that, I'm so down. I love shooting weddings. But for myself, I really don't think I value that sort of thing. My favorite photos are like disposable cameras, some film camera stuff. So I think I'm probably just gonna kind of capture things. Like I will probably hire someone for 2 hours for like ceremony and family photos.
Yeah.
To me, those are like most important for our families. This is like coming from his family's flying from Denmark, and it'd be such a rare time to get everyone together. And it's like, okay, that makes sense because we right after the ceremony, we can get some of the ceremony. But I do not want to do portraits. He definitely doesn't. We're just like, that's not for us. I would rather have some like weird, crooked, blurry, like I will remember the day. That will be like, I will love to print a wedding album of like the really goofy, embarrassing stuff. My friends like grab some of the disposables and just like, capture. Now I have been pointed out that's kind of cheating because most of my friends are wedding photographers. And I have to not tell them too, because I know they're going to be tempted to bring their damn camera.
It's so easy to say when like all of your friends are like industry pros.
I'm like,
how do they all just grab them? They're like, hey, Catalina,
I know
the cape on your dress.
Which like I didn't think about, and I'm like, shoot, I'm gonna have to make sure to like shut that down and be like, you don't have to take any photos.
Like in the invitation, if you are a photographer, I don't want to see anything in your hands but a disposable camera.
Yeah. and a cocktail.
Wow.
Mostly
And a
Wow.
cocktails.
cocktail.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just
Obsessed.
and it maybe I will, maybe this is just I tend to have knee-jerk reactions to things that are expected. But I also,
I
yeah, it's
get
just
that.
truly what I'm excited about and I value. One of my friends just did that. They had eloped in Vegas and it was just so sweet, direct flash, disposable, and they were beautiful and you could just
Mhm.
like feel such the person in that. And I think that would just be a cool thing. I think like I love what I do, absolutely, but it's another thing I think people feel very forced into that may not be, a fit for them. Maybe not a lot of people, but yeah, that's kind of a thing for me. Sorry, long, yeah, one of those
Wow.
long
No,
story
I
longs that I do. I'm kind of
love
winded. But
that.
Yes.
yeah, it's a little weird to say out loud as a wedding photographer, but I do think that's what I deeply value. And yeah, that's just kind of being like very honest on some like inner like where I'm like, I really think that's what I would really desire. So
This was a hot take. This was a don't take us personally exclusive
it was.
spicy
Yes, I have
tidbit.
not talked about this.
We are getting the first
Well,
on Catalina's wedding.
even just like on a smaller scale at every single wedding, I swear to God, I'm just like, please don't do a garter toss.
Well, yeah, just like the
Like, please,
things that are
God. Like,
feel extra
The-
production.
right, those things
drive me
I'm
crazy.
just like, how is this special to anyone like anymore? I just don't get it. And like I can't speak for them. Like obviously like there could be something that like makes it very important to all of my clients and I don't want to discredit that, but like in my mind I'm just like I have zero connection to throwing a bouquet and a garter.
Well, like at our wedding,
at
we
this
didn't
point.
do anything that we couldn't answer why to.
This
So
is
like
brilliant.
we didn't do like
I
dessert
love that.
cutting or we did toast because I love
Love
toast and then didn't do like
yeah.
bouquet or garter or nothing. Like it was just like a backyard party.
Love that.
Mhm.
And yeah, we didn't do anything we couldn't answer why to. And like one of my couples last weekend, actually, they were so cool. They didn't want toast, they didn't want dances, they didn't want anything. They were just like, during the reception, we do think a cake cutting photo would be like really timeless though. And just like next to like my grandparents' cake cutting and my parents' cake
Yeah, and
cutting.
they have a good
and
reason.
that
That's
awesome.
cute.
to them, like,
love that.
yeah, they were like, that feels like so timeless wedding
Yeah.
photo to me, but the rest we don't give a shit about. I thought that was really tight.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
definitely want a cake
that was
cutting
really
photo because I think we're gonna do it's a Danish style cake that's very common at
Cool.
celebrations that his family will probably make. And I actually would love a
Nice.
direct flash goof photo of us cutting
Yes.
that thing and smashing each other's faces.
So
But
great.
it's not for the photo. It's like
Yeah.
this is like a special part of his family tradition and something that we will bring in and totally is like it is almost like so corny that I kind of love it.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
would be like such a funny thing. But
Yeah.
but yeah, that's yeah. It's like so weird to say that out loud, but like why the hell not? Things
I
things
love
don't
that.
change and perspectives not even change, but there's not like an openness of the options when people don't talk about it and
Right.
just kind of stick into the same structures and standards that are there because it feels like uncomfortable to do that. So
To get rid of, yeah.
Wow.
Totally. Wow. Well, good for you.
That sounds like it's gonna be the best week ever.
I'm so excited. I just want to
Yeah.
party with everyone. Like all my friends live all over. It'll be the first time like them. Oh, I'm just like that is.
Wow.
I'm
Good
so
for you.
excited. Yeah.
Amazing.
Good for you.
Amazing.
Hell yeah.
Well, enough about your wedding.
That was fun. It's
I
That was
also
fun.
love that. So
The whole
Yeah.
episode is just about Catalina.
it's really cool
Sorry,
to
guys.
hear like such a different
No,
perspective.
don't be sorry.
Yeah, don't be sorry. I was so
We
excited.
loved that.
I was like, but when we were prepping for this, I was like, do you think she'll let me ask her about her wedding?
Oh my gosh.
So fun.
What about what's next for you as far as work and business goes? Where are you headed?
Anything you're excited about?
Mhm.
yeah. I still like I'm so excited pandemic life is over. I am so
Mhm.
happy to be back shooting after my
Yeah.
the whole speech I just made, but I love photography. I absolutely love shooting. I was shooting some elopements and I really missed shooting guests and
too.
like
Ah,
stuff happening and
I was not
interaction.
super satisfied shooting only tiny elopement.
Yeah,
Mhm.
same.
Yeah,
I
they're
like
very
the party.
satisfying. But
Yeah.
yeah, you feel very on the spot because you're like
Yeah.
sometimes just the one other person there as kind of like the
Yes.
hype person.
Yeah.
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 So so I'm so stoked. When there's a balance, I love shooting them. But when I was like
Right.
just that over and over,
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I do really miss
I
having
really
guests
missed it too.
people. So yeah, I'm really, really excited for that. I think my big focus through the next, and which has my main focus for the last few months, and that I'm continuing, is like a true balance with everything in my life, and not just like work-life balance, or like really like connecting into what I really want out of this life. And yeah, and then taking a lot of time to plug into that. I think there's like this never-ending cycle of hitting these goals, hitting these things. And I think there's times for that, but this is definitely, I think, a season for me to enjoy what I've built. I really haven't done that. I've just dove into the next
Because it's always like, what's
thing.
next? What's the next?
I'm always just
Yeah.
like, I like
Yeah,
celebrate for
same.
like 2.5
Mhm.
seconds, and then I'm, off to the next thing. So I'm really excited to kind of like, I'm like kind of taking some time just to be like, oh man, I built this. This is
Heck
really
yeah.
cool. Like,
Yeah.
this is really awesome. I'm
I
so
have to remind myself of this a lot. Like I have to, when I'm not feeling good enough or feeling dissatisfied, like I have to be like, when I used to dream about being exactly where I am right now. Like the life I
Preach.
have right now,
Preach.
I
Such a great
used
way
to
put it.
think would
Yeah.
be the fucking coolest. Like living in California with my husband and my dog, shooting 30 to 50 weddings a year. I've gotten published in all the places I wanted to. I've done all the things. I now have a podcast. I sell my presets. I do like this life is more, it's beyond what I ever dreamt. So like,
Yeah.
why are we so dissatisfied sometimes?
Yeah.
It's
that, like,
crazy.
that like internalized capitalism worker bee. We just got
Yeah.
put on a ladder when we were in elementary
Yeah.
school. You get the good grades and you go here and you go to college, and then like, but then it doesn't kind of lead anywhere. Like they don't give you
No.
like an end. It's like this
Well, it
every
leads
ever.
to when you die.
It leads to
Yeah,
death.
exactly. And so I'm kind of getting like, I'm just getting those things in perspective, and like,
Cool.
okay, like, oh, I love, like, I have a little house that I love and friends that I love. And it's been so nice to really plug into that. Like, that's my next thing,
Awesome.
is to actually pause. And like, you can
Heck
take
yeah.
like, people, I might get a dinner to celebrate, but I'm literally going to take like 6 to 9 months, like, to celebrate like exactly what I have and really enjoy it, enjoy the Northwest summer. So I think that's been like my biggest focus. I recently got my own business coach and life coach that like
Cool.
changed my life.
Amazing.
Wow.
Focusing on true boundaries in my business, setting expectations, like that this is truly my business and I can design it however it, could be, like, just however I want to design it. Like, she
Yeah.
was like, do you want to do
Yes.
initial consults or don't you? We could find a way that you don't have to do them. Like, this is your
Yeah.
business. Like,
Yeah.
that was just really life changing for me, how
Yeah.
much I was questioning all of that. So
We talk about this a lot, that like, why are we all so obsessed with, like, me in particular, like, oh, what's everyone else doing? I need to do it just like them. But it's like,
yes.
what is the actual point of that? Like, that is
Yeah.
why we're doing this. Like, we can create, there are no rules. Who made up those rules? Like, the whole
Yes.
point is so we can create the
Amen.
life we want.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've been on like a similar awakening, I guess you can say.
Love
Like,
it.
and the freedom that comes with that's incredible.
Yes. Yeah, I
Mhm.
absolutely love that. Yep. Mhm.
Oh, I
Cool.
love everything about you. Uh, everything you say, I'm just like, yeah.
Well, why don't we just go ahead and start diving into what we are doing here today, what we're talking about, which is getting your business off of social media. And
Which sounds dual meaning, actually. When I was telling people what we were talking to her about, they were like, oh, getting business off social media? Doesn't she kind of talk about the opposite? So do you know what I
wait,
mean?
who talks about the opposite?
Catalina,
Oh,
because that title sounds deceiving. Getting your business off social media versus getting your business
Oh.
off social media.
Oh,
Like
okay.
that same sentence has two different meanings.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
There's a word for that.
It's
I don't know what it is.
there's like a bit of a mind fuck with that phrase. So we are, what we're trying to convey is how to not be reliant on social media for your
Yes.
business.
Yes, correct.
That is what we really are excited to talk about, Catalina.
And the reason we are specifically talking about this with Catalina is because she has done just that. And she is a perfect example of someone who has turned their business into something that she doesn't have to be reliant on social media for, which I think sounds like a literal dream.
Yeah.
So we are so excited to ask you these questions. So yeah, I guess first question would be, in the long run, was getting off of social media your goal?
It was not. Yeah, that was not my goal. When I started, I was definitely kind of, when you start something, you just see all the things, right? You see people doing all the things and you just are trying all the things. I had my wedding wire listing. I just kind of went in all directions, SEO being one of them. I really, really tried with with Instagram. So I ended up being able to pull back when I kind of got to the point where I was like, just I'm not as, and my thoughts have changed since then, and that can be for another question. But yeah, it wasn't my ultimate goal, but the freedom to one day be like, I don't really want to do this right now, and then just leave it. And it
And
made
still be
no
okay.
difference in my business at
That's
all.
amazing.
And still does. And so it's kind of cool to turn to something, because I was trying to figure it out, just like SEO ended up making a lot of sense to me. The algorithm for that makes a lot of sense to me. Instagram, I was like beating my head on a wall because I'm like, but I understand this. What is up with this coding? And it's just a whole different ballgame. Its algorithm is like, they send you in 100 directions kind of and it's changed, and it's just like, and so I was just like, why?
It's like once you figure out something, they change it on you.
Yeah, exactly. Or it's like,
Yeah.
it just is I don't like things I can't do quantifiably and be able to repeat, like an experiment, right? Like,
What did you do before this?
I was in human resources, but I've been a big like science nerd and like philosophy and things like that. So
You sound really smart.
Oh, stop it.
Like you just even the words you're using, I'm like quantifying.
I don't know where that came from. Maybe I do need a glass of wine instead of boring. But yeah, it just didn't make. I want to be able to do things, and for the most part, like 90% of the time, see a sort of result, and that just didn't happen with Instagram. So yeah, I got up one day and was just like, I was kind of going back and forth thinking about it, kind of stressed that I wasn't interacting more on Instagram. And I was kind of like, I'm just like, and I was like looking at my number. I'm like, why am I? It's because I think I have to, because I just saw that and I internalized that. Well, I'm just going to turn that internalized off. I'm going to take that programming out.
Amazing.
And was able to just, I can be off as much as I like, which is really, really wonderful.
Amazing. Now, before we continue, I think I forgot for those of you that don't know, Catalina is like an SEO expert. So
she is the SEO queen, expert, royalty in our field, in any field, whatever you do. Yeah.
So this is something that we wanted to have her on, and for once not have her talk about SEO. So we felt like this was a very relevant thing to talk about. So well, cool. That's interesting.
But you need her course if you're listening to this. You need to go get her course.
And we will.
Not if you're in San Diego, though, because a few of us like to dominate those pages.
Yeah. Don't get it in San Diego.
Don't get it in San Diego.
We are already winning.
Some people are already winning at San Diego wedding photography because of her.
I love you both so
much.
Oh
my
God. So I guess reality too is that it's not like you're not on social media. Like we see you posting stories and posting every so often, and especially if you have something new, like education wise coming out and stuff like that. So what does your relationship with social media look like right now?
Funny you should ask. This is my I take things extremely seriously and do a lot of mental checking in with just aspects, especially since I find something that irks me. And I did decide, I had some like friends and stuff encourage, like, oh, just like, your friends want to see from you, like, and that kind of like got my gears going. I also went to a like COVID outdoor little hang with like 4 people at the beach that I hadn't seen in a while. And I knew everything about their lives with talking to them, and they knew nothing about mine. And that was a little bit of an eye opener. I was like, okay, so I'm a lurker. Little stalker over here. It got me thinking, because I could tell they were looking at me and they were like, it was definitely like I think they were stoked that I like knew this stuff and had things to talk about, but I definitely was like walking away like, oh, that's really fascinating. So I'm on there and I'm interested, especially in people that I care about. So I started to look at this idea that you brought up, Cami, which is amazing, is that there are no rules. And the sort of the issue with these apps is they do present them that there are rules, and as we're all doing things on there, then we're trying to mimic each other because other people have followings, and it creates these sort of like mystical steps that you think you need to do to fall into formula. And that's one of the things that I think stuck out, that I started to hate it so much, is that it kind of creates an interesting homogeny. So everyone acting the same. And we lose our individuality in that. And that really kind of got to me. And so then I came to another thing and I'm like, okay, well, what if the Instagram is the matrix? And if, being plugged in is that feeling of stress that something is controlling you. What if you unplug? What if you literally you pay attention to none of the metrics, none of everything, just get rid of it. And it's your portal, your Neo. You get to do whatever you want on there. When people follow you, that's a voluntary decision. And this is a place. So I decided so I was like, okay, what program am I going to input into the matrix's place? And I really wanted to.
I love her.
Sorry, I get into stuff. I really wanted to program in the program of bravery. I can be a bit apprehensive. I can be sharing myself is uncomfortable. And so I said, okay, this is my portal to be brave. So I did things that were uncomfortable. I showed up on camera and that was my only goal. No metrics, no follows. This wasn't an authentic to be like, oh, I'm being authentic, but actually I want followers, which, to each their own. But I decided to use it as a portal like that. And then it became a lot of fun. Then it was fun to be on there because and this is a freedom too of when you can so a lot of these programs that get put in is from our internal lack. So we think something is missing. We want our business to be successful. We see other people being successful, and Instagram uses that like a little carrot for you to come spend time on the app and create content for its business. We run Instagram's business, and it hangs that carrot like, oh, do some reels. You'll get some followers, maybe your business. And it totally pulls on that lack mindset within us.
This is actually why I have confusing feelings about TikTok. Because everything you've just described is that.
Interesting.
On that platform specifically. And it makes me resistant to getting on board.
Yeah. There's a way you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
I know.
Talk to Game about TikTok. I'm
no.
It's
true.
It's really confusing.
Like there's literally a way you're supposed to do it. And like I've spent so much time like just being a consumer and like watching like what are people doing that's actually being successful. And then I'm just like, okay, when you really look at it though, the people who follow the trends are not the ones who have the most followers on TikTok. It is the ones that you're describing that are doing them. And then like it just explodes because it's unique and it's not what everyone's used to.
But then you also have to do the trends or you'll never be found.
Not necessarily.
This is what I'd call too is like, I think once we can remove the lack and put in the freedom or put in whatever we want this app to be, that's like level 0. Then I think you can go to level 1. Then you can play around with matrix and stuff because then they don't control you. You're Neo. You've removed it. You've removed that program. So, and then you can have a checkbox too if you feel a little too over controlled by going after that. But it should be like I described, like there's this war against the algorithm, which is kind of like in my brain. You don't win the war, honestly, by fighting in the battle. You make a playground in the middle of the battlefield. That's your space. You get to make that. You create your play zone to try things out. And then, if you want to add a little structure, you want to pay attention to it, then it doesn't control people or make them feel that they have to do things or feel so stressed internally over this app. So I think I think we can exist in this matrix once realizing it is a matrix. That a lot of the things that we are ingesting are just Zucker bots. They're bots programmed by Zuckerberg, who's like a cyborg human. And like I think the reason that reels get more engagement is because they're competing with TikTok. You're literally
no doubt.
Yeah. So it's like it's like, yes, we can play that game for sure, but know it's a game and know that your business success. And I've talked to, I've taught and done SEO and stuff with quite a few people with 2,000 Instagram followers and people with 60,000. And I have had both say, I am not bringing in business. So I think there's this myth that amount of followers is going to give you success in your business and that it will not. You give you success in your business. And if you have 5,000 people that you've already shown up for, like that are signed up for your playground and you're having fun, you're going to be excited to keep showing up. They're going to be your people. And so even getting to that 60K, I think then you'll just want 120K. Oh, that'll be
it's
it.
Always
I'm
more.
not there
like
yet.
It's never enough.
More. It's another ladder we get stuck on. There has to be an end goal. And so my end goal was bravery. And that's what I'm practicing right now. That's it.
Like slow clap for Catalina.
I've had so many thoughts about this.
That was the most inspiring
I'm gonna re-listen to that like every day.
That was the most inspiring thing I've heard about social media ever.
Wow. Why aren't you famous yet, dude? Come on.
Oh my god, that was amazing.
Thank you. That was
because
brilliant.
that's
Brilliant
how
answer.
we've talked about in other episodes too, that's how we like to use it. I don't get most of my work from Instagram. It's
None. I get
mostly
none.
website and referrals.
Yeah.
So
you guys
I'm not
99% referrals.
I'm not reliant on it for work at all, but I've used it as a place where like I get to know my couples and they get to know me.
Yeah,
And to
same.
me, that has
Connecting
been
with friends.
so valuable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wasn't it social media in the first place?
Yeah.
It's not
Like when I
not growthful
when
media.
I know when I notice things about my couples and then I like bring it up to them at the shoot, like, oh my gosh, when your dog did that cute thing, or like,
They
oh, I
love
saw
that
that
shit.
trip. They are like, oh my god, you paid attention to me.
Yes. Oh my god.
And then they're like, oh, your dog, like my couples now bring me dog toys and Topo Chicos to my shoots because they're like, we know Cammie, and if there's anything we know about her, that girl puts down Topo Chico a lot, and she has this dog she is upset, so it's like I have found so much value in it besides like growth. And I mean, I was full-time when I had like 500 followers, so it's like, but I mean, times are different. That was like 8 years ago. But anyways, all that to say, I love that mindset. I really love it. So now would you say there was a time you weren't using it every day, and now are you using it kind of every day again?
I'm as I feel a bit, but I
Just
feel
whenever you want.
Yeah, whenever I want. And what's cool is I know it's my fun and it's my portal when I feel inspired. I've because I think too that it's not beliefs that we can just change, like, oh, I need to believe this. It's behaviors that reprogram beliefs. So when, if you're and whatever your thing is, if you're nervous to show up on camera, and this is called cognitive behavioral therapy in traditional like therapy, which I've done. I love therapy. But it's like we try to force our beliefs to change, but it's really taking action against those beliefs. Like my therapist once, because I was so bad at saying no to people and I'd say yes to everything. And he was like, okay, your homework's to say no to everything this week.
Literally, I am doing the same thing in therapy. Like it's not like you're not going to feel better about saying no before you say no. We're just going to practice doing things that are uncomfortable, and you'll believe this won't kill you.
It moves the
eventually.
Threshold. And then you can see how much more you can handle, and you're like, oh, actually this thing I was really scared of, it's really not there. It's just we get, of course, in our heads, which is so understandable. But yeah, now I do it when I want, when I feel inspired. Like this weekend, I really just took the weekend off, but it's also fine because my business isn't tied to it, and it's just there, which is like so freeing to have fun with it. And I can I love that. All of us too, like just to build businesses, like you guys are so wonderfully successful without having to be reliant on that app, because it's just like that dangling carrot it puts is maddening. And then an algorithm, which is like this huge maze that you can't figure out, is like, oof, that's rough. So
yeah,
I guess I haven't trusted it for success, I guess, because I mean, we just have no control over that space. So like, I've never wanted to be too reliant on it, just because honestly, because I never felt very successful at it. Like I never had the same kind of followers that I thought I needed to have to be successful. So I was just like, okay, well, I don't have like the 50K or whatever followers here, so I'm going to find them elsewhere. And I always did. So then it's just like, well, it doesn't matter. And clients think my 9,500 is impressive. So like, cool.
They do. I love they do.
Okay. But moving on, because I want everyone to just absorb what you just said about Instagram and nothing else. So that's the social media pep talk from you. Yes. I love that. That took a very different turn than I was expecting.
Dude, honestly, yeah. I'm like, some of my questions, I'm like, we got to rework this.
I'm like, that.
No, are you kidding?
That was better than I was hoping for.
That is one thing I might develop and release, is a war against the algorithm kind of course. I have like 20 pages of just stuff that I've gone through. I'm just really like integrating it first, but that is something that I might do, but I think it'd be so cool to like release more people from the, I don't know, from that gate.
Absolutely, you should.
Just at home alone scrolling, like it's tough, and you can hear like, and then you're like, oh, I don't care, but then it's like that pullback. It just, I want people out of it. Come to let's create playgrounds in the battlefield, and I'll like just throw confetti. It's gonna be great.
Gosh, I love that.
One question we were gonna ask is, since you aren't on it as much, but you are on it now, but whenever you want to, it's like, when would you say that you are mentally healthier, but I think you answered that
I think you are.
because you answered it in a way that was just like, well, I control this app now. Like, it's not that it controls me, it's that it does what I want it to do for me. I don't know, I guess anything you want to expand as far as like your mental health goes in regards to social media?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've also become, when you change it to this, whatever your program you want to input, whether it's fun, bravery, just trying something new, anything like that, I become much more sensitive to when I don't want to be on it, because I'll like pick up my phone and be like, doesn't sound fun. And I think one thing too, and I've started to do this, is if I am going to post and be on it, I will set a timer, and not necessarily as like, oh, I'm going to be off the app. It's a check-in timer. So like, then I actually close the app, put my phone down and be like, okay, am I still having fun? Am I still like, or did I get into kind of a doom scroll? Or like sometimes I'll be like, I went to the park the other day and I was just playing with filters for like 4 hours. That was a blast. I wasted so much time and I was so happy. Like, so there's like this,
I love that.
There's this opposite idea, like all these things, right? Like I'm supposed to work out. I'm supposed to eat well. I'm supposed to not be on my phone. I'm supposed to update my social media. It's like all these, it's like, no, you do whatever. Yeah, you make those things for you. But it's called kind of a, when you have new habits, it's called creating a speed bump, just to kind of stop yourself and be like, am I still like, is this like, am I having fun? Is this a good use of my time? Did I like mean to do this for, it's like, okay, well then, you can give yourself a chance before you start like doom scrolling if you're not in a great place with social media, which is super understandable. Our feelings and beliefs are valid completely. But there's some actions we can do, like adding speed bumps or working on reframing our just approach to it, that can do so much for the mental health aspect. I'm definitely a person who has been through a long, therapy years and mental health stuff. And I know how tough it can be, but there's some just small things we can do to give ourselves kind of a fighting chance before the spin sort of starts to take over.
Wow.
You and I need to have a whole separate conversation off the air about things we've learned in therapy.
Right?
We're going to have a whole separate conversation
I love that.
another time. Okay. So on that note though, if people feel stuck in if I were to take I feel confidently, if I were to not post for a month, my business would be fine. I mean, there were months at a time last year I did not post anything. I was just so paralyzed with like survival, that I like didn't care.
Yeah.
And I knew the business would be fine. I don't have a lot of anxiety around not posting, but for people who feel like, if I don't show up on this app, I'm like, yeah, Catalina, that all sounds nice and wonderful, but like, what if I'm already relying on it? So what now? Like, what would you tell them? Like, where can people start to kind of like break this like reliance cycle? Where are other places they should be trying to get their, like, where the hell would you direct someone to start?
Yeah, first I would say set really defined goals. So say you need to book 25 weddings. Go back and look at what your referral sources are and look at the percentages. You'll probably see that actually, even if you do well on Instagram, say it's 50%, something like that. That's nothing to scoff at. But if you say you've already booked 13 weddings and there's 8 months till wedding season, that's still a lot of time. If you want to take 2 weeks off, you're probably fine. So it's like, you're gonna be okay. Also, just taking weeks off, like if there is one avenue, and this would be for any avenue, even, I mean, there's some that I think are like personal referrals that Gabe has. That's a pretty steadfast one, but I'm all about not having all your eggs in one basket, no matter what it is. So if there is one thing that would, so say even if Google like just went down, it crashed, I don't know, someone burned it all down, I would still book out my full year. SEO still, it books about half my year, but I get so many inquiries that I will easily fill in the like 30, 35 spots that I have for weddings. So I think getting really clear on your goals, looking at where you're at, where you want to be, taking a few weeks off or a month off could be the best thing for you. And you may be able to put it towards another channel, especially if you only have one really solid channel built. I'm like, something I've said for years is it's putting all the eggs in all the baskets. It's good to have, 5 to 10% of inquiries coming from different places than it is to have 90% coming from one, because it just creates, one, a lot of stress, and two, you'll feel very, very tied to something and how to do something. and be worried about it rather than having more freedom in your business, which I bet that's why you got into this, is to be able to be an autonomous being. So, and not be kind of like ruled by these sources. But that's like, that will take a lot of the stress out. And if you are really reliant on social media, just pick one other to focus on, whether it's connecting with more vendors, connecting with past clients, having them leave you reviews, that puts them back in their mind for personal referrals, whether it's SEO, doing some style sheets, just focus on one. Because I know that sounds like a lot. Just pick one. So take a month off Instagram, pick one and do a month of that. Make it really simple and streamlined, because it does seem like we have to do all the things. And that's just like not the case. Most of us, we ended up chipping away once the years go by. We didn't realize all the things we would do, but to anyone who's feeling like overwhelmed by that, then you are able to take breaks and continue to build that net, and it's just going to have a lot more safety and security for your business. So
do you have thoughts on what you think would be like the most important to start with? Like, do you think like SEO is like the first place to start if you feel a little too tied to social media?
Yeah, it's
a good starting point.
Only because the earlier you start it, the better. The earlier in your business you start it, it's much easier to tweak a website that's not built that much out. Whereas one that has a lot of pages, a lot of blog posts, there'll be a lot to fix. You can still do it.
Totally.
Also, Google will it does look at not just the age of your site, but it's going to start seeing you as a quality site. And the more time you've spent as a quality site, it'll be easier to rank. So again, I'm biased, but it is because of that reason. I'm very lucky.
That would be like a good first place to start.
Yes, it's a really good first place to invest. I am so lucky. I dived into that like 7 years ago. I did not know what it would become. That was a complete luck. Now I look back and I'm so thankful, because it's wild how much that's created business security. So that one, and then and vendor relationships, that's my biggest one, especially with venues. That's a really easy one to build. Send them sneak peeks, send them photos, give them an email before you're going to shoot there saying how excited you are to shoot there. Probably 25% of my business comes from referrals from venues and being on their preferred list. So I'm so thankful for that. That one is like, it's like SEO and venue referrals. I'm like, you guys are my bread and butter.
Amazing. And it's so good to not be overly reliant on one of these things. So that if one is slower, one isn't working, you're not going to freak out that you're not getting any work. I think that is key. And do you think people are like too reliant on Instagram right now for their business marketing efforts?
Probably, but it's understandable. It's so visual. We're seeing other photographers. It's the one where it feels like there's people, so we feel drawn to it. Where there's like a lot of the other marketing channels feel a little lonely. We're already on it for personal reasons, but I would say people are pretty reliant on it, and they think there is this obsession with the numbers and growing their following, and seeing other accounts with bigger followings. And if that's like one thing I could say is I've spoken to some of those people. They reach out like, I only have 2 weddings booked for next year, and they have 80,000 Instagram followers. That's not to shame on. It's just to kind of remove the myth, because you could get there and that golden egg may not be there. So it's so much better to build these things out and focus on different things, because that's really going to be the longevity of a real solid business. So I'd really say that I really want to blow up that myth that I've seen kind of like under the trunk of or under the hood of some things, and just know some people really do. They book out their whole year, 2 years from Instagram, awesome. And some people with the same amount of followers don't. They could both be 80,000 accounts. So it's not a guarantee. And no marketing in business is. I think a lot of times we want to find that thing that will be the thing, because we're scared. We love our businesses, but it's all about chipping away slowly but surely and building like a really solid foundation.
Yep. Wow. Yeah, that's something we talked about in an episode semi recently. I don't know when they come out anymore. We had an Instagram episode a while ago, and I remember, sometimes I get so frustrated that like, man, for I get all salty, like for how many weddings I've shot and how long I've been doing this, like I should have more followers. Why don't I? Is my work not good enough? Like, this is crazy. Like, why aren't I a bigger deal or whatever? And then I'm like, okay, fact check here. I'm making more than I ever dreamt I'd be making in a business like this. I'm working more. I'm loving my life more. What else could I possibly want? Like, when I'm older, I'm not going to look back and be like, man, I loved my life, but I'm so sad I didn't have more Instagram
On her
followers.
deathbed, like, oh, I wish I would have had 50 business.
Oh, I wish I hit that 50K. It's just so stupid when it's like,
Yeah, and it's understandable. We're literally given numbers and letters that show
Mhm.
our personal value since we are literally when we start life. You got a 98%, you got a 72%, you got an A, you got a B, and I've tied that so much to our future and our identity.
Yes.
It's so understandable to see those numbers. And that kind of hits that same part of the brain that literally has been coaxed for that for 18 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
But once we like look at it more, like how much did that A matter in 6th grade that you stressed out about? Like,
Not at all.
it's just another metric that you choose what it means. So yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
Wow.
so valuable, Catalina.
Hell yes. Do we feel like we covered all the questions before I get to spicy corner
Yes,
that I didn't
no,
prep her
I think
for?
that you covered everything and more. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, brilliant.
Is there anything else you want to add about the importance of not relying on social media? Anything about SEO? Anything you think would be really important to mention?
I think one of the biggest things I wish I would have told my younger self is and something I am learning now at 35 years old after doing this for almost a decade, is how much now I look and how I was ignoring how much I could trust myself. I think a lot of times, like, we want to be better photographers and we're striving, but I've really been pushing into trusting my intuition with what I choose to do, choose not to do. I think it is so important to like kind of like bring that inner voice out, kind of coax that fire. And it's risky because it's like, well, I don't know if this is a right decision. But the thing is, there's no right and wrong decisions. There's a path you make. That's it. The
We're
path you
on
choose.
such similar mental.
Oh, I love this.
So that almost made me.
Yeah, and that's what's beautiful is it's like you're creating this wonderful story of your life, and you're going to turn left and right. And I kind of envision it so much more of like floating in an ocean. You're going a direction, but it's still just life, and there'll be struggle and things that come up. But when you look back, it's like you always got through those things. We're so much stronger than we give ourselves credit for, and we're so wonderful we're such individuals, and that's something that I get a little scared of with the internet, again with the homogeny thing. So man, there's such this like, and I don't mean to be that corny, but I guess I am. But there is this
Oftentimes the truth is cheesy.
Yeah, right. There's just like wonderful. It's true. I'm like anti cheese ball and a total cheese ball, like just. But yeah, there's just like that. I know it sounds scary, but the more and more I'm practicing that and like taking that risk, because it is to be like, I think this is what to do, and I can't quite rationalize it or whatnot. And it's been really cool to watch where that leads, and it's a lot less stressful and it's a lot more exciting. Even when I've ran into like just stress points and stuff, I can see it as more of like, this is good. Like, I'm a human and emotions are a gift, as someone who has struggled with deep depression and anxiety. And that's a whole different thing. But I think I would always label a little anxiety and be like, oh, I have to fix this. Something's wrong. And now it's like, ooh, no, I describe my life now as textured. And I'm so happy that I've had such a textured life. It's been really difficult. And that's not to do a love and light, positive, toxic positivity sort of thing. And I've come to a place at this age where I look back and I'm like really thankful for all the texture. And I'm glad that I'm seeing that it's like, I can really trust myself. Am I going to mess stuff up? Sure. But it'll be fine. Like, I'd rather like plug into my identity as deep as I can and operate from that place. So that's been an interesting, like, some months of really living that way. So yeah, so trust yourself.
You're such an incredible person. I'm so proud of you.
My blue hair.
You're so cool. Oh my gosh.
That makes you less incredible.
Yeah, you're so amazing. You are so amazing. Okay, well, just because I want to lighten the mood after all of that, and I didn't prep you for this at all. I wasn't gonna tell you. I didn't tell you I was gonna do this. I just have a spicy corner, some questions I'd like you to answer, top of your mind, just what comes to your mind.
I might have
Oh,
we're gone.
damn.
I know. I was like, I think Gabe prepped me, but I was gonna leave the secret.
Oh, you told me
I
about
couldn't
spicy
keep it.
What
corner.
an honest guy.
He's so honest.
Sorry.
Okay, well,
Sorry.
how do you feel about just like the wedding photography community right now? Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, what are my thoughts? Gosh, we've been so like not in community. Yeah, interesting. Okay, what comes to mind? I feel like I had a great answer too when Gabe said it earlier.
You can keep pondering. We're just admiring your jawbone.
Yeah, we're just like
Yeah.
looking
as you're like.
Okay, ask me the question one more time, and maybe it'll like pop back in my brain.
Like,
So
what
funny.
do you think about the wedding photography community right now?
The good and the bad. What's annoying you? What do you think is
do you think there's anything
positive?
really good happening right now, or do you think there's anything that's driving you crazy?
A direction that you think that we should not be heading?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a little bit of what I mentioned earlier with the homogeny, with everyone behaving the same or shooting really similar, or maybe like shoot the way you're going to shoot. But I do think that there's like these grooves that get created in a certain ways photos look or the ways people are online. And now it's not, 1,000 individuals, it's 10 individuals, or it's like 50 individuals in each of these pockets really behaving the same because they feel like they need to. And that's like not to throw any shade, but it really does annoy me, and it makes me feel really sad to go onto Instagram and to I mean that's my only like community view right now is when I am on there, just because we're just starting to like see people again after pandemic life. Right. But yeah, it's just like a lot of the reels looking the same. And if you love your photos, like just punch me in the face right now. That's like I am a voice in a microphone. Like I said, you trust yourself, but and if you love what you shoot, but it is like I do see some more and more a loss in individuality. I started in wedding photography when it was really bright and airy and burlap and all of that. So I've seen like nearly a decade of.
That's when my wedding was.
Yes, I love it. And I've just seen a lot of styles change, a lot of this change, and that a lot of websites look the same, about sections read the same. I get that people, and I'm so stoked that a lot of people, it's their first or second year of business, and they're doing beautiful work and all of that. But yeah, I would love to see way more weird. I want to see people's weird. I really want to see the weird flag fly. I think there's a lot of real put together, all that. And if that's, I have, there are people like that for sure. Like that have the aesthetics, and I love that. But it becomes this then like kind of copied format, and it drives me nuts. It's honestly one of the reasons one of the big reasons I don't like going on social media, because I see just like a homogenous, sort of behavior. And I'm on there to I like to see the weird stuff. Like the accounts I do click through, it's the people I know who almost like, there's a few I follow that almost like, they're so bold in what they say that they kind of scare me, and I love it, and I can't look away. They're not in wedding photography, because I honestly have I've just even decided I've muted a lot of accounts. I've just for my own. I'm like, I don't really need to see weddings. I know what I shoot, and I know where
we're all about the mute feature over here.
Yes, we are.
I muted him for a time.
This is we already all know this.
I've never
no secrets here.
So. I spilled that tea.
No, but I love
one of our first episodes.
You both are wonderful on there. I love watching Gabe be Gabe and his kids, and
okay, I loved that thing you posted last night with your kids just being so crazy,
psychotic,
screaming, and I was like, that's the realest shit ever. Thanks for posting the reality of what it's like to have kids, rather than everyone making it look so perfect all the time. I was like, no, that's what it's like to have kids. They're just screaming all around.
And then even the kids try to act like they're perfect too.
Of course.
And to us, they're like the other day I went upstairs and Evie was tumbling around, but I could hear her, and then I go and she's sitting in her bed and she's got a Bible in her lap. And I walk in and she looks at me and she's like, I was just reading my Bible. I was like, what?
You're judging. You're just like,
were you?
Your kids are so funny. But no, I agree. I would like to see more people's weird. I'm still working through the anxiety of how do I be weird and not watch it a million times and delete it and think everyone hates me. And so having this podcast has helped me a lot with that. Actually, as the time goes on, I get better and better at not obsessing and re-listening to them a bunch and being a dick to myself. It's such a journey.
Yes.
But another spicy question. What do you think is the long game for us? I have a lot of personal anxiety that I'm going to age out of this relatively soon. And I'm just curious, every time I talk to another photographer about this, they're just like, I don't know. education, I guess.
I
Like
might, yeah, I might
what's next?
retort with a spicy question.
Yeah.
Is there a LOM game on anything?
I mean, I can answer this question and say that I know for a fact I won't be doing this for much longer.
What's cool is it's
Yeah.
did our 10-year plans ever become that? I mean,
Oh,
what I
true.
like to call it more is I aim for a certain, especially when you plug into the values of your life and what you really want your life to look like, you can aim in that direction and see what comes across your path. But man, every time I've made my 5-year or this is when I'm gonna leave or
Amazing.
thing, like there's pivots. We're different people like every year, every 6 months. And you never know,
Seriously.
like when like a random opportunity when India Earl saw me teach at a workshop and then was like, will you come teach on my platform? And then it made my dream come true of like being able to have, an education platform and have someone assist me through it. That was completely random. I really wanted
You
that,
couldn't
but I
have
would just
planned
didn't
for
know
that.
how to do it. It was just so random. And I look
Yep.
back and I'm like, wow, I could not have planned for that. So I think we have been a little, and I think this is and this may not be for everyone. So again, punch me in the face, ignore me, just a voice in the microphone. But I love how I keep saying punch me in the face. Do I just want to be punched in the face?
Dude, there's something about you. You want
But
to be
I think
punched in the face.
we've programmed since we were young yet again to be on the ladder and have these long-term
Yes.
plans and what's your major in college and I don't know anyone who really got a job even that matched their major in college. So it's just these ideas. I don't know if we need to be, and again, if people want to, if they're more those personality types that like to have that, I have my plans, but or like things I'm excited about and will aim for, but it's definitely with looser fingers than I used to. And I'm 35, right? Like I'm a little old fogey in this industry. But
I'm not that far behind.
yes, yeah,
I'm
cool.
coming up right on that I'm circling that corner.
Yeah, not to be like, but it is a little funny because I didn't think I would be doing it for this long, and
Yeah.
I found in year 8 I have a resurgence that I'm kind of plugged in. We're artists. We're like, I hate my work. I love my work. I love this. I hate this. It's just a process.
So real.
That is natural. That is natural.
That's real.
Yes,
That's
Fine if you don't
is.
love your job all the time. This is still a job. It's okay.
In those seasons of I hate it, I think I fucked up my whole life.
Yes.
And so that's a very scary place to be. But yeah, it's like, I hate this. I love this. I'm obsessed with this. I'm the worst. I'm the best. This is the best shit anyone's ever made ever. It's the worst shit anyone has ever made ever.
Hour to hour too. I'm like, yes. Oh no, awful. Like, what were they thinking?
Yes.
But
and I definitely feel that pressure to know where this is going.
Exactly. And I think there's safety in that. And that safety that's been instilled in us. To know where you're going is to feel safe. But also you can decide not knowing where you're going feels safe.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of cool to
that.
just be able to decide that and to see what may bubble up across the path, because I think there is wonderful times for pushing and going energy and to like really like crack things down. And there's other times like sit in the river a little bit, see like you can like see where this goes. But life is such a random.
So wise.
I think a lot.
You're so wise. And that answer gave me so much peace.
Oh. Yeah, that's something I had
always felt so connected to you.
Yeah, organized planner kind of thing. And I'm like, but maybe I just won't be for right now.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's brilliant.
And I think my life will be, I mean, if you were to plan out 10 years or you won't, I'm pretty sure you'll be safe. Like, I'm pretty sure I'll be safe. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna figure stuff out. Especially if you've like done like even just launching a photography business and like left a job, you are already an exceptional person. That is so hard to leave the traditional safety of that environment. Right. I think people, can really then like, that's the hard part. And that this life can create a lot of distance between a lot of these structures of these, safety things like, oh, I'm going to be what? Homeless? What? Like, I'm just tired of being scared on that stuff. Like, I'll be fine.
For the listeners, that just blew my mind. that was my mind-blowing sounds.
Okay.
There's blood all over the brains.
Catalina broke Cammy. But
We were not expecting this.
But what will I thrive off of if I'm not scared all the time? Conversation for Catalina and Cammy off the air.
Yes, we
Yeah.
I love that.
I think that too, like it's even just like from what I thought I would be in high school, looking at now, I had a very specific plan of what was going to go on, especially because I had ambitions with Michelle too, like to start this life really, really early. And like, I had to like show that we would be able to support ourselves like at a very young age. And
you have kids. I don't have kids. So
yeah, well, I mean, even that, like, I mean, that is something that we didn't plan for either. Like, it wasn't like, oh, like when after 7 years of being married at the age of 18, we're going to also have 3 kids and buy a house in San Diego. And Gabe, you're going to own 2 businesses. Like, none of that was stuff that was going through my mind at all. And I look at it now and I'm like, okay, well, like, what do I think I'm going to do in 5 years? It doesn't even matter because it's not going to be what I thought I would do in 5 years.
True.
So like Good Times specifically, I had no intention of opening up a new business in a pandemic whatsoever. I like had ideas that maybe I would do something like that in the future, but how soon it happened, it was nothing like what I was planning for. But here it is. And, you know, I've got my dreams for what's to come next, and maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. Maybe I will do something totally different. Like Michelle and I
probably will.
Probably. Michelle and I like.
Cool. Yeah. So go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. You interrupted me, and you're going to say what you have to say because we know it's good.
Cool to like, because I think there's a tension of that stress, and I've like kind of brought it over to being more the curious observer and like waiting in anticipation for what will come. And that's exciting. It's a little exciting that I don't quite know, and that I can follow like my pulls internally, and that there's going to be things across that path, or I'll be kind of going here and I'll be like, oh, well, that's going over here. So yeah, just this wonderful curiosity over what's going to happen, instead of this like more grasped hold that we're all taught to have. And then when you find the thing, you can like pounce on it and like, you know, drive it and just be a badass. But yeah, I love that playful curiosity. Yeah.
I was just going to say something. I'll say, I just want to know I had a dirty joke with what you just said.
Oh, darn!
You said, I just want to pounce on it and drive so hard. And I was like, listening to you, like, I just want to pounce on you and drive you so.
More off-air activities for Cammy and
I was like, oh my God, I just love everything you're saying.
I was about to say that we're turning into a philosophy podcast.
Sorry.
We're going to get into some trouble.
I love it.
So far, I have been inappropriate with both of our guests, 2 for 2.
It's time to bring on an HR rep.
Yeah, I think it's time to bring on a lawyer for us. So yeah, people are going to start being like, man, we love being on the podcast, but Cammy's kind of a creep, isn't she?
Yeah, 3 stars? Like, I kind of was into it, but
like kind of into it, but also really uncomfortable.
But I definitely never want to be a guest.
I definitely never want to meet her in person.
Oh my God!
Up without our clothes on, so
yeah, it's weird to in the podcast notes. So just to prep, show up nude. I know, but don't worry, it's a podcast. They won't see you. It's just for Cammy.
Are we gonna have a steamy session right now with the 3 of us? Oh God,
it's happening. This is how I brought it up. Okay, well, I think that's where we need to wrap up, because now it's getting naughty.
Yes, agreed.
But we cannot thank you enough for doing
thank you,
this
Catalina.
with us.
We know people will be obsessed listening to this.
This took so many turns I wasn't expecting, and that makes me so
just
excited.
like our 5-year
just
plan.
like life.
Playful curiosity and being
playful curiosity.
Well, that's what we'll name it instead. Playful curiosity with Catalina, except that doesn't sound great. So we won't name it that.
Of this episode,
Yeah.
That's the title.
A picture of all of us like this.
This is my dream. Oh my God.
Anyway, we love and adore you,
and
we're so stoked you got to be here with us. And
people are gonna love this conversation.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Last thing, I guess, is just to tell people where they can find you, and also to please talk about your course. SEO is fun, what it looks like
anything
now,
you want to plug, anything,
and what is coming for it.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah. So you can follow me over at Catalina Jean. There's also the SEO is Fun Instagram account. There's a bunch of great stuff on there. I just haven't updated it in a while, but there's actually some IGTVs and things at SEO is Fun. The current SEO course is up and I absolutely love it, but I am going to go in and just because I love to I saw that Gabe, he dropped his pen. Because I love to give things a nice revamp, and I've learned some things recently on how to present some of the information that I think could be helpful. So I need to confirm with India. Need to talk to her first. No, I already mentioned it, but to kind of do like a nice overhaul. So that'll be coming and relaunching in the coming months. And if you are a current if you've currently bought it, you will have all access to everything. So you can go jump in now. You can wait for that. That's totally fine. And I'll see about developing this like war against the algorithm thing. See what that
I
looks
love
please
this.
do.
That will most likely definitely be, I want to make it like free or like $5 or something, or so I can get coffee or something after making it. Because I really want to, I would love to get more people out of the matrix so they can have some freedom and fun with things like pairing SEO, I think with that, and I think you will have a lot more fun with your business.
Yeah, freedom and fun.
For those that have not heard of SEO is Fun, if you are, and if you are not, you should be considering learning more about SEO.
Unless you're in Southern California.
Unless you're in San Diego specifically. Catalina's course is perfect because, I mean, I'm the type of person that really likes tangible, like step-by-step, like here's what to do.
I need you to borderline hold my hand.
Yeah. And this is it. So it's a very straightforward course and it's easy to understand and it's easy to integrate. So
it makes something very complicated very simple.
And it will be so much less work than you think.
Yeah, it's not that much work.
And
it's
effective. I might offer some one-on-ones, but they will only be for students of the SEO is Fun course. I really just as a person don't enjoy repeating myself. I imagine them more like strategy sessions. So once people have completed and they've got the bases down, that's where my real passion turns on, is the strategies and how to break apart markets and like get a game plan in place. So those things can be really paired together. But yeah, that'll just be for students of that. So I don't have to repeat myself, which I like.
Amazing. That's
amazing.
Great.
Well, once again, we appreciate you very much.
Thank you so much.
So happy to have you here. And
I think we're gonna have you again for other topics. This is
more philosophical.
There's like a lot more we need to dive into on this. So
that's my favorite.
Cool. I love that.
Perfect. Well, with that said, to our listeners, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hopefully you enjoyed this wonderful philosophical conversation with Catalina Jean.
What accent just kicked in?
The fancy one.
Oh, the fancy one. Yes. Philosophy with Catalina
Philosophy
Jean.
with Catalina
Playful
Jean.
curiosity.
Wave goodbye.
Playful curiosity and tasteful nudes. That's the title of this episode.
I approve that. I'm fine with that.
She accepts.
Fly. Let's do this. Let's do it.
Brilliant. And with that, we are out.
Bye. But don't leave.
Don't leave. Yeah, we're not done with you.
We're just recording.